Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Misty Shaheen. I have been working with women over the age of 35, helping them increase energy, lose weight, create a life they don't need a vacation from. So if that sounds like you, stick around because today's topic is juicy. We're going to be talking about women and burnout. We're going to talk about what is it, how do you know if you have it, some common warning signs. So let's get into it. I want to know in the comments if you've ever experienced burnout that you know of or you're aware of, because I know there's probably people that are going to watch this that are like, oh yes, I have definitely dealt with that before. And I would love to hear about your experience. So first of all, what is burnout? So I have been through burnout twice that I can tell you about. And the first time I went through burnout, if you've been following me here, you may or you may not know, I have a special needs child. So when my first child, I was 26 when I had him. At the age of 1, his pediatrician came to me and with concerns that he wasn't babbling, he wasn't really crawling, he was barely sitting up, and he definitely was nowhere close to walking. And this is when we started to look into what may or may not be going on with his body. It's been a very long road. He's now 15 and he has an intellectual disability. When I was feeling signs of burnout, he was about 4. I believe my burnout came on from the pressures of being a working mom, trying to maintain a full-time job, while also having the stress of having a special needs child with extra doctor's appointments, therapy appointments. We had speech therapy and physical therapy and occupational therapy. We had people coming to our house. We had early intervention specialists working with him. And there was just so much going on that I was focused on him. I was focused on his care, and I was not focused on my care. I was not working out. I was not eating the best. I was just eating whatever the kids' leftovers were. I wasn't sleeping well at all, and I was chronically scrolling on my phone, numbing out with social media, alcohol, food, just not dealing with the emotions I had going on. So that was the first time I went through burnout. And if you watched my previous video, I talked about the hormonal changes in women over 35. I did briefly talk about my second interaction with burnout. In 2018, I had my 3rd baby. I was in the best shape of my life. I was working part-time. I was teaching fitness classes during my whole pregnancy. And after she was born, my husband and I decided to open up a physical location, doing a lot of the same stuff I was doing, but we decided to open up a physical location selling smoothies, protein shakes, and healthy snacks for people who were working on the go. Well, things did not go the way I originally planned for them to go, and I ended up working a lot of hours. Again, I had 3 kids. I was homeschooling 2 of them. The 3rd one was under a year old and just an infant when I first started this business. And I ended up working 50, 60 hours trying to keep this business afloat and just actually get it off the ground even. And after about 18 months of that, I found myself in a point of exhaustion. So in 2020, I shut down the business. I came home to just be more home with the kids, homeschooling my kids, while also I was still trying to coach women on losing weight and increasing their energy. And something weird happened. I ended up gaining 40 pounds, what seemed like overnight. I had anxiety, I had depression, I had mood swings, crazy mood swings where I was just yelling at my kids for the littlest thing that set me off. I wasn't sleeping well, I had no energy, and all of the strategies that I had known to help women to increase their energy and lose weight were not working for me. And so I seeked out a doctor to help me. But that was my second run-in of burnout. So I kind of consider myself an expert at this point. So we're going to talk about the burnout, and I'm going to talk about some of the signs and how do you know if you are entering a stage of burnout and what you can do about it. You may be struggling with burnout if you have feelings of feeling overwhelmed, or you feel emotionally drained and or unable to meet the constant demands of your daily life. Burnout can impact your work, it can impact your relationships, and your overall well-being. Burnout usually comes from chronic stress that is not managed well with proper rest, relaxation, and self-care practices. So causes for women specifically, what causes burnout? Work, especially if you're overworking, like if you're working 40, 50 hours a week, that could cause burnout, but also the stress that comes with your job. If you are working in a high stress job, that also could cause burnout, as well as caregiver responsibilities. If you are a Gen Xer or a older millennial, we are called the sandwich generation, where we are taking care of our own children while also taking care of parents. And I actually went through this a couple years ago, just last year. My dad was in the hospital. My dad went into the hospital for 4 months. And aside from working, I also had children, and I'm also a wife, and I had a house, and on my days off, I was driving to the hospital to take care of my dad and connect with his doctors and his nurses and try and nurse him back to health. And I found myself entering a stage of burnout again. So caregiver duties, if you are giving too much of your time and energy to all the other people and you're not taking care of yourself, that can cause burnout. A lack of support. So if you do have all these responsibilities and you don't have adequate support, you don't have childcare, you don't have anyone helping you with meal times or getting dinner or grocery shopping and keeping the house up, a lack of support can put you in a state of burnout. So I would suggest, if you have the means, to start outsourcing and delegating some of those tasks. Can you get someone else to do your grocery shopping for you? Can you get someone else to do meal prep for you? There's different services that now, you can pick up meals. You can, we have Instacart, and, every grocery store seems to now have grocery pickup or delivery. So if you could utilize some of those services to get some of your time and energy back. Hormonal changes. So if you are a woman over the age of 35, I do suggest you go and watch my previous video about the hormonal changes that are happening in your body. But a big one is a woman over the age of 35, as the hormone progesterone starts to lower and decrease, or you have imbalances, then you will notice that you can't handle stress the same way you used to. And this is, I've talked about this before, but this is a period of slowing down for you. And so if you are not slowing down and you still have all of these responsibilities that you are dealing with, and you still have really high stress levels, that could put you in a state of burnout. And lastly, lifestyle factors can bring on a state of burnout, but I think lifestyle factors is like a secondary to everything else you have going on. So if you already said yes to one of the above, the previous ones that I've talked about, workplace stress or extra caregiver duties or a lack of support, and then also lifestyle factors such as you're not eating right, you have a poor diet, you're not exercising, maybe you have poor sleep habits, all of that could also help bring on that onset of burnout. So let's talk about the early warning signs of burnout. How do you know if you were going through a state of burnout? First sign, chronically fatigued, where you're feeling physically, emotionally exhausted. Especially if you know you're sleeping okay, you know you're going to bed at a decent hour, yet you waking up still feeling exhausted, you maybe have the early signs of burnout. Decreased motivation or a loss of enthusiasm for your work, for your life. You just have this feeling of almost like a sign of dread, here I am again, another day, but you're not real excited about it. Another sign is cynicism or detachment, where you're feeling like you have a negative attitude. You start noticing you have a more negative attitude than what you normally do. Decreased performance, especially at work or in the gym, or maybe you just don't get as much done during the day as what you used to. When in 2020, when I went through burnout, that's kind of the things I was noticing. I was like, I used to be able to do all this stuff and get through my day, and I felt a sense of accomplishment, but here I was lacking focus and lacking direction. The end of the day, I was like, I don't even know what I got done. I touched on this early with my own story, but increased irritability. When I talked about my mood swings and my kids were just driving me crazy over the littlest things, I can say that I've healed that part. I no longer have those crazy mood swings anymore. But yeah, increased irritability. You may also notice physical signs in your body like headaches, muscle tension. You may also have frequent illnesses from a lack of your immune system is compromised. You may also notice insomnia or sleep issues. I touched on this with my story too. I wasn't sleeping right and then I was exhausted all day. So if you're either having trouble going to sleep or you're waking up in the middle of the night, I would wake up in the middle of the night and then I couldn't go back to sleep for hours. That was really annoying. You may be socially withdrawn. So you're so exhausted. Maybe you have stuff coming up like social activities, gatherings, graduation parties, weddings, but you just don't even want to go. That is a sign of burnout. You may have an increased use of your coping mechanisms. You may be smoking more, drinking more, overeating. I also noticed I was relying on caffeine more. I was I couldn't get enough of caffeine. And lastly, you may have feelings of hopelessness where you're just every day is just blah, and you just have kind of lose your zest for life. So I hope this was helpful. If you want, I want to hear from you. If you are experiencing any of these signs, let me know in the comments. I'm going to be doing another part 2 video to this because I want to give you some strategies on what you could do if you are starting to notice signs of burnout and how you can heal from burnout, because I've done it twice now. And then I said last year I was kind of started to feel the effects of burnout, but I wasn't all the way there yet. I was able to kind of reel it back in, and I want you to be able to do that. And if you want something that you can start right now, I do have a free PDF download. It's called Energy Upgrade, and I'll leave the link in the comments and you can grab that, and it's free. And there's some stuff in there where I talk about basically how to get your energy back, and so you can start to incorporate some lifestyle factors. And lastly, if you love this, you want to learn more about this, make sure you like this video and you are subscribed to the channel, because I'm definitely not gonna stop talking about this. So let's talk more about it, and we can dive deeper into each of these signs, symptoms, and how you can heal from burnout.